Guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece chapter 924. So, right off the bat, the chapter doesn't waste any time in giving us a very intriguing reveal, which is that sea stone, the material that the Navy uses to catch pirates, in their jails and their handcuffs, all that, sea stone originally came from Wano, and that kind of has multiple indications to me. The first is that Wano has been helping the world. Like I said, I'm sure that, like it was said in this chapter, Wano supplies sea stone to pretty much everyone across the world. So that means they're kind of like Water 7, in which they supply it. They have a neutral stance in which they supply it to everyone, I guess. But in this case, it does show that in that case too. It shows that Wano has been helping the world government as well. Has been helping out the world government for pretty much a while. But the question is, how long has Wano been involved in supplying the world government with the material in order to make jails and freaking jails and handcuffs and all that. But was it before, and even in that situation, was it before or after the Odin's death? Because as of right now, my theory is that this is the majority of this stuff probably has been that probably has been going on a little bit before Odin, but I want to say a little bit after Odin's time or something like that. At least that's what I want to a little probably before and after Odin's time, I want to say, but it probably really started happening like the connection between Wano and the world government and the Navy. It probably really started to get even more prominent after Odin's death, is what I want to say. Because right now my theory is that Wano's connection to the poneglyphs and the country's ability to craft items out of sea stone had something to do with his death, and if that's the case, then it would actually make sense in terms of giving Orochi a motive to kill Odin. Okay, on a theoretical level, if let's just say that Odin was planning to do something that might have potentially put Wano in the government's crosshairs, and in that situation, I'm sure. In that situation, I think what probably happened is that in that situation, I want to say that probably what happens is that Orochi got scared. So he probably tried to work. Probably tried to work with the government or offered a deal with them he'd kill Odin and offer them their pretty much offer them Odin's head in exchange for leaving Wano alone or something like that. And at the time all this stuff with the government was going on, look who happened to appear, Kaido. So I think it's one of those things where everything, like I said, this is all just a theory, so it's not accurate at all, but it would make sense in terms of timeline, and that just all this stuff just happened coincidentally all at once. So yeah, it's probably like Odin was probably like a sacrificial pawn in order to prevent the government from pretty much doing whatever they're planning to do to Wano. And just luckily enough at the time, pretty much Kaido happened to appear, so yeah, Orochi just took advantage of the situation. That's kind of where I'm at with it right now. But yeah, I really want to know as to what you guys think about that. Now, the other thing to take away from this little sea stone reveal is that potentially, with everything we've learned about Wano thus far, I think it's fair to make a really good assumption that sea stone is the material that was used when crafting the poneglyphs, and I have a lot more faith in that one. And I have a lot more faith in that theory than I do in my other one. But if that fact is true, then it does add a little more validity to what I just said, and it actually makes sense in context of how the poneglyphs themselves have pretty much survived for so long and are just downright unbreakable. Like sea stone itself, we've seen, is a pretty damn tough material. is a pretty damn tough material, so it makes sense if it was made out of sea stone that it would survive for this long. Although, although the biggest question is still yet to be answered, and I think we may have gotten little teases of it here and there in this chapter, or even just throughout this arc in general, is what exactly Wano's involvement in the Void Century actually entails. Like, we pretty much know, like, all we know are just the base details that they were pretty much involved in, and that they carved the poneglyphs 800 years ago, that the Kozuki clan carved the poneglyphs 800 years ago in order to preserve, like, the details of some event. But, and it again, it all ties back to the Void Century and this mysterious kingdom that is also tied to the Void Century. So, like, what exactly just is this kingdom, and what exactly is Wano's history with it? Like, it's just still being kept so vague, but we're just getting so many breadcrumbs too that, yeah, I just really want to know now. I want something like that I can grasp onto, I guess. I'm just so. But then again, this is Oda's specialty. He gives us enough where he gets us excited, but yeah, I want to know more. Yeah, other than that, it seems like my whole theory about Luffy and the Lions possibly teaming up with Eustace Kid for the rest of this arc might have been confirmed, as we see Luffy being thrown into the exact same cell as Kid, although considering Kid's temper, I imagine there was going to be an adjustment period before he actually agrees to work with Luffy and Law, because let's face facts, this is Kid. He's more of a hothead than Luffy, and he's not just, and while he is cunning, he's definitely still he's not on the level of Law either. So yeah, I get the feeling that it's whatever happens with Kid, it's gonna take a while for him to warm up to Luffy again. Although I will admit, the one thing that has me it confused but also like shocked in a way is what happened at the end of this chapter, which is the end graphic that says Wano Country, first act finished. I mean, obviously it's Oda's way of telling us that, yeah, this was only part one of the story, but I don't think he's, like, from my understanding, this is the first time I think Oda's done something like this where he's ended an arc with like a first part kind of title. So it's with that having said, this kind of raises the question: how many more parts is this arc gonna have? Like, this, I think this is an indication that we are going to be here a lot longer than any of the usual arcs. Like, I think, I think with this, Oda completely shut me up as to how long I can predict, as to how Oda shut me up in terms of how long I can predict that this arc is going to go, because with this only being the end of the first part, Wano could potentially be the longest arc Oda's ever done up to this point. Like, longer than, like, it's going to be long, it'll be longer than Dressrosa, it'll be longer than freaking Fishman Island, it'll be longer than any other arc he's done up to this point. Like, it could be, like, 200, 300 chapters long at best, I want to say. Like, oh boy, I think we should settle in, because I think we're going to be here for a while, but either way, it's just kind of insane to think that all this craziness was only part one, and there's even more insane jaw-dropping epicness to come. Like, oh boy, Oda, you've got us, like, Oda, you've gotten us hooked before, but now you've gotten us intrigued. Like, what do you got planned for us, dude? Also, hands down, the funniest moment were those panels of Suru, Frankie, and Usopp making the exact same what the F faces, I presume, at the same time. And although the translation I read didn't match up the title, the fact that Oda went for a pun of saying "huh" at like that just reminds us that the man is just as good at comedy as he is at drama, because that was hilarious. And one thing I love is when Oda pretty much gets so detailed with those goofy jaw drop faces on characters. Like he basically did it with he pretty much did it with he did it with Eneru, and he's done it a lot of times since. But I think this was the funniest use of those that jaw drop kind of face that he loves to do with his comedy. But yeah, um, we also get the reveal that Tama is alive now. In the case of in is that Tama is alive and now in the care of Inuarashi, which again the Tama thing, it had even now, even knowing this now, it has me even more confused as to how I feel. Pretty much compared to when we saw that she had supposedly died. Like, the fact that she's alive now, it has me even more confused about how I feel about this, because on on one hand, I'm still glad that Tama is alive and is going to have a lot more of a role to play in the future of the arc. But at the same time, I almost wished Oda would have followed through with killing her, because now for me, it's actually lost what little impact her death already had for me. So yeah, the whole Tama thing is just going to continue to be like that. It's going to be continued to remain in that strange category of things that, like, okay, so it's happening. Like, I don't have, like, I wasn't, like, it's just, Tama seems to be just kind of one of those characters right now that's just giving me the whole, okay, so this is happening kind of thing. And yeah, I don't know, I'm probably alone in that, but yeah, it's just Tama in general has been placed in a very weird category as a character for me. But yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, AniList, or Crunchyroll. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.